How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Hopefully this is actually a better screen. It is still using the same camera, but with the new lights that's coming in, it has made the picture quality, at least on my screen, 10 times better, so I hope you enjoy it. But we have a mammoth amount of news when it comes to the FTC. They were grilling Lina Khan today, and I've collected a bunch of information, and as well as the grilling of Lina Khan, we have comments from Kotick, we have Nasdaq, we have so much to get through, we have video clips to get through, so this is going to be a doozy. Hopefully you'll enjoy the content, and if you do consider subscribing. We are about 100 subs away from 2,000. That makes it about 98,000 away from that silver plaque that I am so dreaming of getting one day, but that is another thing for another day. But let's get on with the video because it's been a roller coaster of a day, so let's get to showing. So we have this over here. Activision Blizzard is set to be removed from the Nasdaq stock market on Monday, July 17th. As we know, the actual deadline is the 18th. And with that, the deal, everyone is preparing for the deal to go through. And it looks like everyone is expecting the appeal by Lina Khan's FTC, which she says was not her doing. We'll get to that a bit later. That's funny. It looks like that's just going to get thrown out, and the CMA, they're just going to close over the CMA and deal with the CMA in another time. And I do have some theories regarding how that's actually going to work. And I think the divestiture that was talked about is actually still happening, but that itself is going to be restructured, and that's the part that's going to be reinvestigated. So they're not going to block the deal per se, they're going to push it through, but what they're doing is they're going to close that part of the case and basically say the deal can go through, but this is the side of the thing that we're going to look into. So until that aspect is resolved, we will then push it through and decide on that outcome. But there is a lot to get through, so let's get going. The Nasdaq stock market has announced that Activision Blizzard will be removed from its listing prior to the start of trading on Monday, July 17th. That would seem to indicate that Microsoft and Activision Blizzard are confident they can close a $69 billion deal before the previously agreed deadline of July 18th, and I pretty much believe that that will be the case. Of course, all this preparation is subject to change. Later on Wednesday, the US Federal Trade Commission filed an appeal in its current case against Microsoft to try and block its purchase of Activision Blizzard. The FTC wants a preliminary injunction put in place, but this week, after a 5-day court battle, Judge Jacqueline Scott Corley denied that request. The case is now going to the US Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. We should learn more about the FTC's arguments later today. So that's probably going to be another video. Maybe by the end of tonight that will actually materialize, and if it does, I'll get something else out tonight as well. But essentially that's all they're talking about here. But yeah, as we can see over here, Nasdaq has announced that Activision Blizzard ATV will be removed from the Nasdaq 100 index prior to market open on Monday, July 17th. Microsoft and Activision getting ready to close. And this is pretty much that statement saying that they're getting ready to close. This means that, you know, the buying and selling of shares is pretty much done, and they're putting a freeze on it because the merger is about to happen. And by removing it off Nasdaq, it means, you know, they're going to be consolidated into Microsoft. So everyone is now getting ready for this to happen. And we also have this, which is quite amusing. The FTC's budget has been reduced by 25% after requesting a 37% increase. The FTC today was slammed down as they requested a staggering 37% and was told, no, you've cost the taxpayers a hell of a lot of money. You may have done some good, but you've lost the majority of your cases throughout the year. And as such, you know, we cannot continue funding a losing platform. So they've actually reduced their funding. So that's, I think, in all fairness, Lena Khan and her team probably deserve this. There are some good that they've done. And if you listen to the actual trial, well, the grilling that she got from Congress today, there was one or two situations where she think, but again, for the 90% of the actual trial, she pretty much avoided all questions that were being asked. Over here, you have which I thought was really funny. someone hijacked the Federal Trade Commission website and put Sony's. This is too good. Federal Trade Commission, the seal of the Federal Trade Commission, flag of the Federal Trade Commission. I mean, this really made me laugh. I thought I'd add it in there just to show that how much people believe that the FTC and Sony have become one conglomerate. It's brilliant. And we get to see this here as well. This is just too good. This is just too good. The FTC's Wikipedia page was briefly vandalized tonight to replace its flag with a PlayStation logo, among other Sony references. Bureau of Corporations, Agency Executive, Jim Ryan. Websites, https www.sony.com. That's brilliant. I like it. Not the vandalism part, but it's just funny. But we have this one over here. Now, this is really, really spicy. Lena Khan, head of the FTC, getting called out how it is. And I've got something from a friend over here who loves Roman, and I think that sums this up perfectly. But let's listen to this and comment on this real quick.
You're failing in that, you're going to fail. You then took on Microsoft. Microsoft's a big company. Everybody up here seems to want to beat
that face.
Anyone that has over $1 trillion market cap. And when you served on the committee, you were big on, if you were over $1 trillion, we need to break you up or stop you. However, that merger that you lost the other day is one in which a protected market that Sony enjoys in Japan, a company that is already larger, needs competition. The reality is, we are a global market, and you are thinking only of who you want to go after for some reason. And I cannot find your logic, and I believe that it begins at the top. I do. When you blamed your staff and said staff decisions, shame on you. The fact is, you run this organization, and its left turn came when you took over, not with the staff that many of whom would have already been there.
So to put some context into this, when they were asking her questions regarding the Microsoft ABK decision and why she was so aggressively going after them, she basically said this.
I had to sit on that, I had to chew on it and really think hard and long about it. And I didn't lose. He lost. That is
literally what she said. Speaking to Congress, it wasn't me that decided to go after Microsoft. It wasn't me making these decisions. It wasn't me signing these documents. It was him over there. It was those people, them over there, that was making this choice. It wasn't me. Like, are you even serious right now? It's like, come on. Oh man, this is just like it's this. Where is it? Come on! It's that face right there. That right there's like, can I show you a picture of a kitten? Maybe a puppy? Maybe I'll do a zombie voice. It's like, what is she doing? She was absolutely ruined. Lena Khan tried to make up the law and used the FTC in-house court ruling as precedent. Lena Khan says the FTC is appealing because of staff opinion. What a disaster. Let's listen to this one, because this is what I was talking about, where she said, it wasn't me, it was them.
Determinations.
But are you bringing cases that you expect to lose?
Could you repeat
Are
that?
you bringing cases that you expect to lose?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Well, your track record seems to suggest otherwise. Let's look more closely at the Activision decision, though. The court first noted that in an attempt to lower your burden, you essentially made up case law. You couldn't find anything actually that's the courts have provided in terms of precedent, so you cited to your own FTC decision as precedent. But irrespective of the legal standard, the court, you probably wouldn't have won under any standard, because the court said this, that the FTC has not raised serious questions regarding whether the proposed merger is likely to substantially lessen competition, not raised serious questions. The court also not only rejected your assertion of a likely anti-competitive effect, but found just the opposite, that the record evidence points to more consumer access. So why should Americans have faith in your judgment when this Biden-appointed judge says you are so far off the mark?
Congressman, this matter is still pending before the FTC in administrative adjudication, so I'm just going to be limited in what I can say about the merits.
She cannot answer anything.
Lays out the staff's view of what this merger would result in and why that would be a law violation.
But the judge roundly rejected it and said there weren't even serious questions, and now having lost, you're spending even more taxpayer money on an appeal that you're even less likely to win because the appeals court is going to defer to the trial court's findings of fact in this very fact-intensive matter. So why are you spending even more taxpayer resources pursuing this appeal?
So I can say, again, this was a staff recommendation. I can say it a general matter. Staff always looks closely at an opinion and looks at whether there are certain errors in law that they believe are worth appealing on. Those are, in general, the types of determinations that go into whether the FTC ends up appealing.
May I refer you to this?
I had to sit on that, I had to chew on it and really think hard and long about it. And I didn't lose. He lost. That is.
McQuack, big up. I know you love Roman, but yeah, I had to use that, buddy. We got over here Activision CEO Bobby Kotick surprised that the FTC would waste taxpayer money. I've paused it here. I'm going to have a link to all of these in the description if you want to go check them out as well. But I think this part of the discussion that he makes regarding the FTC is quite important. And again, it just goes to show that all the FTC is interested in regards to this Microsoft Activision case is wasting taxpayers' money. They know they have no chance of winning. They are hoping by some miracle that they can get Microsoft to pay that $3 billion and extend it, or for basically to get Microsoft to pay up that $3. I don't even know what they want at this point. But yeah, let's just hear this out.
So this deal is still far from done, though. That was a big hurdle cleared, but this deal is far from done. The FTC could still appeal before the deadline of Friday night at midnight. This appeal could come through any time before then. They could request a stay on the deal. What happens if the FTC does that?
Well, I'd be surprised if they would waste taxpayer resources on something like that. The opinion was a very well-written opinion. Like I said, she's a very deliberate judge. I can't imagine the Ninth Circuit would grant the stay. You never know, but I would think that would be highly unlikely, and it just wouldn't be productive.
Well, we're hearing they are leaning towards an appeal, though it's certainly not a done deal. Do you have any thoughts on how that might impact this process?
Like I said, I can't imagine the Ninth Circuit would grant the stay.
So that's not your only hurdle, though. You're still working with the regulators in the UK. There was some discussion back and forth between Microsoft and the CMA, the UK regulators, saying they're considering finding some sort of compromise. What do you think would be a practical compromise to assuage those UK regulators' concerns? Are there certain divestitures or certain compromises or actions that Microsoft could take that could get this deal through in the UK?
Look, there's enormous competition. Xbox is the third place competitor in the console gaming business. Nintendo and Sony have had dominance in the business for almost as long as I've been in the business. In the cloud, there's nothing but competition, whether it's Tencent or Alibaba or Google or Amazon or Apple or Netflix or Oracle. There's so many different competitors, so there don't really need to be, there's nothing that we really need to be doing that's going to encourage more competition. This transaction gives an opportunity for us and Microsoft together to actually be able to compete against these entrenched competitors.
Microsoft's Satya Nadella is here as well. What is your sense of what Microsoft's going to have to do in order to get this through in the UK? Do you think they're going to have to divest some of their businesses or agree to operate things differently in the UK?
No, I think these conversations are ongoing, but we came to a great agreement with the EU that was sensible and responsible, and I think was, is well thought through. And so we've already come up with remedies that make a lot of sense and that work well in the EU. We have unconditional approval from China, unconditional approval from Japan, both places where you have the most successful competitors in video gaming.
So essentially, what's going on here with the CMA? So what he's saying here is clear. The FTC's appeal is ridiculous. It's stupid. They've lost, and yet they're still continuing to pursue this agenda. Lina Khan is saying, it wasn't me doing any of this. It was them. Don't come to me. I got nothing to do with it. I'm just the person signing it off and wasting taxpayers' money. They're the ones that are actually pursuing it, not me. So she's trying to wash her hands with this case and trying to come out rosy clean. So I'd hate to be in the room when she turns up and they're like, but in regards to the CMA, I think what's going on here is that they are going to divest the part of the cloud gaming. Not that the cloud gaming will be removed from the UK. I think that's going to turn into its own entity and its own platform. And by doing that, which is the part that, the CMA is still fixated on, the deal can go through. If they take the cloud part away, because that is what the CMA's whole purpose is right now, the deal can go through, and then they can reinvestigate or reevaluate or restructure, as they call it, into the xCloud and do another investigation that they want and do whatever they want, however long it takes, while that happens. What will this mean? xCloud in the UK may or may not day and date get games that are Activision Blizzard, but Xbox as a platform for you to be able to download will. Game Pass will get those games day and date. And for most people, that will be enough. I know it's a bummer for those that do rely on xCloud for their gaming. They still have other options like GeForce Now, Boosteroid, and other competing platforms. For those of you that say, what about Amazon and what about with their Luna and Google and whatever? Well, it's a free license. The EU has granted a free license. If they really want it, they can take it. There's nothing there stopping them. There's a free license for 10 years. Microsoft has made that a blanket license for all. Right? So that's there for them. So that's no longer an argument. But in regards to the CMA, I think that is what is happening. I think when the CNBC actually reported the divestiture, that was correct. I think when they were reporting that they came to an agreement, that was correct. I can't see Microsoft pulling out of the CAT tribunal without having, agreed that this is a done deal. And I can see this closing on Monday as well. Maybe even tomorrow, or over the weekend even, maybe, if that's even a thing with the Nasdaq now closing. But for sure, Monday, I can see this closing, and I can't see any way. And with it closing, I can see it closing with the approval of the CMA as well. But yeah, I think the aspect that's going to be divested with Game Pass for now is going to be xCloud. It doesn't mean that xCloud is going to cease to exist. It just means that Activision Blizzard games, in my opinion, will have a delay in getting onto that platform. So, that's still a very good situation. That will be the approval of everyone except the FTC, and that will make the FTC look like the complete jokes that they already are, especially with Lina Khan at their helm. And for those of you that were, curious as to, the value of Activision Blizzard, right? Activision Blizzard King. This graph here, digital video game revenue worldwide from 2017 to 2026. So the 2023 to 2026, well, 2024 to 2026 is projection. But as you can see here, you got PC gaming, which has been around 20% in 2017, 22%, and it's kind of dropped as it's gone and leveled out, and is expected to get lower and lower as we go to 2026. Console gaming, on the other hand, has also decreased. And we can see this here. Year on year, console gaming revenue has gone down. And this isn't just projected numbers. This is all the way up to 2023. We can see that the numbers for Activision Blizzard have been decreasing year on year, despite the $1 billion success, $1 billion in a week success that Call of Duty brings. They are still losing percentage in revenue every single year. In 2017, they started at 20%, and it's projected by 2026, 9 years later, that they'll have lost a whole 10% in revenue on consoles. But the surprising one here is mobile. And this is what I've always said. Mobile is where it's at, because mobile is dirty money. Call of Duty Mobile, about 3 years ago when I last checked, I haven't found any relevant information now, but when I last checked, they were making $7 million a day. A day. 7 million. Show me a game out there right now that, month in, month out, makes $7 million a day. You will not find a single game. It's ridiculous how dirty mobile gaming money is, especially with the gachas, right? I mean, I actually play gachas on my primary channel, Chaos Prime ZYT, shameless plug. And I can tell you, there is a lot of money revolving around those. But look, as you can see here, in 2017, it was 58% of the total revenue that they made for that year. By 2020, it was 69%. It went up by 11%, eating into PC and console. By 2022, it went to 72%. It's expected to increase continually year on year at this point, with 2023 hitting 74%, 2024 75, 2025 76, and by 2026 it's expected to hit 77%. So this projection is ridiculous, with console gaming and PC gaming dropping lower and lower as people are looking to mobile to, with devices getting stronger and stronger, and with you able to play, AAA games, and they are, in my opinion, AAA games like Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail. They're really high production values. Tower of Fantasy. Yeah, I'm going to throw that one in there. Don't judge. It's clear that mobile is growing and continues to grow. And this is the money that Microsoft wants. This is why Microsoft wants the actual deal to go through, because they want a piece of mobile. They want a piece of that pie. It's really a no-brainer. Finally, the only thing I wanted to go through was this document here. Now, I'm not going to go through the document per se, but I thought this was very telling. This is part of Microsoft's appeal to the actual appeals court, to the ninth court. And you can see here, today you have access on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC, with all of these not having access. With the merger, all of these would have access, with the question mark being around PlayStation if Jim Ryan is willing to play ball. Without the merger, again, it's exactly the same as today, with a question mark on all the others, because there is no guarantee that any of these will actually get it. Well, we know from Kotick's statement, anything from Game Pass down won't be getting it. And this is a 150-page document, which I'm not going to go through now. And I know there's a lot of redaction in here as well. So I know other people are going to go through this, so I'll break it down once they've done that. But otherwise, yeah, the FTC, Lena Khan got absolutely clapped. This was hilarious to watch. I've actually really enjoyed making this video because it was a lot of fun, and hopefully you'll have enjoyed it too. I know it's been a bit of a long one, and I appreciate you hanging out, but yeah, this was pretty good. Let me know what you think about the new light that's over there. Is it over here? Yeah, I'm still getting used to this reversed camera thing, but thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. And yeah, if you've enjoyed it, please do consider subscribing. We are less than 100 subs away from 2,000 subs. And, well, that makes it 98,000 away from my silver plaque. Remain legend.